quarter mile is old news because half-mile events are popping up all over the country. The tracks are longer and dustier, which means higher speeds and exciting racing. A lot of people are showing up at these events to stretch their car's legs further than they ever have. Today, we're gonna get up close and personal with one of those cars. It's time to go carbon fiber front lip to swoopy rear wing, bumper to bumper on this Mark IV Toyota Supra.
Did you say Supra?
Did he say Supra?
Did you say Mark IV Supra?
Did he say Supra?
I heard Supra. Before we get into this episode, on behalf of the whole Bumper to Bumper team, I just want to thank NOS Energy Drink for partnering with us. They sent me this special handler to give me a NOS Energy Drink whenever I want. Kind of looks like Nolan.
It is me. You signed a contract that said I had to be the only one that hands you the cans.
That doesn't sound like something I'd do.
Sounds exactly like something you would do.
Thanks, NOS Energy Drink. Now, back to the show. For more than 50 years, quarter mile time has been one of the major yardsticks by which a car's speed is measured. And for the last 20 or so of those years, Mark IV Supras have been held high on the JDM drag community's pedestal. The 2JZ engine is rightly legendary for its ability to make insane horsepower, and the drag strip feels like the natural home for a highly modified Supra. But what if you want to go further than the quarter mile? What if you want to go faster than the quarter mile lets you go? That's where half mile comes in. If you're serious about racing a fast car, but also want to keep it civilized for street driving, half mile events are a great place to wind out your build and get a major adrenaline rush. I don't know about you, but I get a little adrenaline rush every time I even see a Mark IV Supra. You all know what happened to their value in the last 10 years, so you don't see them out and about too much anymore. This car's owner, Toe, was lucky enough to pick it up off a family member. Lucky. For some reason, his brother stopped exercising it, much like I have stopped exercising my body. Good thing Toe stepped in and offered to give it a new home. Buy it lots of shiny new accessories and take it outside for some playtime. In my humble opinion, Supras have never needed wide body kits to look the business. It's always been obvious that if they wanted to, they could catch you and they could eat you with their wide-eyed stares and their buff butts. So to that end, Toe has kept this Supra pretty stock in the body department, with the exception of a more aggressive carbon fiber front lip. Another indicator that this thing could eat you alive is the light gently glinting off the 5-inch intercooler behind the grille. It's probably gonna stop faster than you too, because when you've got as many buff horses as this thing has, you put on big brakes. Covering the calipers are a very simple, classic weld racing wheel. They're pretty typical 18x9s up front with our 888s, and pretty atypical 15x10s wearing chunky boy Mickey Thompson street slicks in the rear. Look at the sidewall on these monsters. The car is set up to launch quickly from a standing start, and the stance makes it look even more like an animal, just ready to pounce. Toe drives it this way on the street on weekends because it never rains in Southern California. The rent might be high, but the rainfall is low. There are plenty of sick aftermarket wings out there, but none of them perfectly frame up the rear window like the OEM one does. The back of the car looks serious with that meaty rubber, but you want to know about all the buff horses under the hood, don't you? You do. I'm going to. You want to see the 2J? Let's do it. This Supra's engine compartment is the epitome of what show and go should look like. Guys, it's really pretty in here. When Toe decided that he needed more power, baby, he didn't let aesthetics go by the wayside. First off, it is crazy clean in here. I would totally eat tacos off this big Precision 7675 Gen 2 Turbo. Ooh boy, that's a one spicy snail. Then I can make sure there's no cilantro stuck in my little teeth, checking my reflection in this glossy AF fan shroud. Honestly, the fan shroud is cleaner than, has better paint job than either of my cars. It looks like it's never been driven down a dusty airstrip, but it has. He must clean the engine bay with a freaking toothbrush. To ensure that the engine can churn through enough air, there's a 4-inch throttle body, a 4-inch downpipe with a 4-inch boost activated cutout, and a 3-inch HKS carbon wrapped titanium tipped exhaust. To handle all that power Tow wanted to make, the 2JZ was pulled and fully built out. Race rods and bearings, 10-to-1 compression pistons, upgraded wrist pins, billet, camshaft, and tensioner brackets, ARP studs, the whole shaboong, literally the whole shaboong. To top it all off, a custom-tuned Pro AFI 120 ECU handles engine management. Throwing gas into those 6 legendary inline cylinders are huge 2,000cc fuel injectors fed by 3 Walbro 450 E85 fuel pumps. I bet those pump as much gas through this Supra system as those Al Pastor tacos do through mine. Performance coil packs help light the gasoline on fire, and their CNC machined billet aluminum bracket definitely dresses up the 2JZ's valve cover. It looks like freaking Iron Man in here. And that's because Tow classed up the joint by strategically accenting certain parts under the hood with black powder coat and gold paint. It really sets off how great the whole engine bay looks. And it's a classy complement to the original red color. Behind all this is a stock 6-speed manual with a twin disc clutch, and a 1-piece drive shaft puts power through a stock rear end. Oh, and I almost forgot. You wanna know how many horsepower come out of this thing? 1,280 to the wheels. And it also spits out 990 torque. Those speedy thoroughbreds are good for a half-mile trap speed of 187.57 miles per. I'm gonna need a few more tacos to make that much power. Let's see if there are any inside. I'm sorry to report that there aren't any tacos in here. But there is a carbon fiber cup holder, thank you very much. The Mark IV Supra is a throwback to a time when sports cars just didn't come with dedicated drink storage. You could squeeze one between your legs in a pinch, but then your nice cold beverage would get warm. And in 1994, you couldn't get a donut koozie like you can at donutmedia.com right now. So, if you're gonna have a cup holder, you don't wanna have to add weight. And carbon fiber, everything. That's how I like to live my life. The mostly stock appearance of the exterior continues into the cabin with just a few practical upgrades to the Supra's classic airplane style cockpit. Why mess up a good thing, you know? All the controls are focused towards the driver, something a lot of the golden era JDM sports cars had, and something the C8 Corvette is bringing back. One small, tasteful CAN bus gauge lets the driver keep tabs on all the vehicle data. And I'm sitting in a Recaro bucket seat, always a smart upgrade for a car that sees high speeds and track time. Like the great philosophers say, extra confidence with a security cradled butt you will have. The stock tiller was swapped with a TRD steering wheel, which gives the interior a nice, fresh OEM plus look. The stock steering wheels were kind of big and clunky back in the early 90s because no one had figured out how to cram airbags into attractive wheels yet. Despite the serious numbers this build makes, Tow wanted to ensure that the car would still be enjoyable to drive on the street. So he kept power steering, AC, and a stereo. A stereo? I meant a stereo. A Titan Motorsports 4-point roll bar rounds out the inside of this remarkably clean 187 mile per hour Supra. All right, let's start this car. This is my favorite part of the show, and this is one of my favorite cars. I'm glad you guys could be here with me for this. That's a lumpy boy. I think I want this car more than any car we've ever done. Next up, Tow plans to streamline the car's aerodynamics to see what new speeds it can reach. Half Mile Racing is bringing out a slightly different breed of straight line cars. Setups that are more focused on building velocity over distance rather than making repetitive, aggressive launches. This Supra is a badass example of how to do things right. It retains a righteous level of streetability while still hitting crazy speeds at the drag strip. Thanks to Tow Nguyen for letting us take a look at his sick ride. Follow him at TT in my soup, S-O-U-P, on Instagram for updates.
I live my life a half mile at a time. For those 15 seconds, I'll probably be pooping in my pants. Quarter mile, it's old news because half mile events are popping up all over the, all right.